everyone, welcome back to SaiyanSquabbles. I am Papa Ping Pong, here to bring you yet another deck profile. So today we're going to be running, to continue with my fanaticism of this character, Fuse Zamasu from set 2. So this deck profile is going to be very interesting because I'm going to be using a bunch of the support that came out in the anniversary box for this guy. And he is surprisingly good. I've beat Skillless, I've beat Apes, and I think I've beat Baby with him as well, and then just a few other casual decks. So this deck actually has gotten me a few significant Ws, but it's definitely more for casual fun. So let's go over the leader, Fuse Zamasu. Active main once per turn, choose one card in your life and place it in your drop area. If the card you place in the drop area with this skill was blue, draw one card. Then Awaken, when your life is at 2 or less, you may draw 2 cards and flip this card over. So permanent, if damage is inflicted to your life, place 5 cards from the top of your deck in the drop area. So instead of, taking life normally, you'd inflict 5 or mill 5, and if you took a double strike, you'd mill 10, triple strike, 15, quadruple, etc., etc. And auto, when this card attacks, draw 1, and he's 15. So his backside's pretty basic, but that's a really nice plus because you basically go from having 2 life to having 3 or 4, so you get like an additional 2 life. But this skill helps you self-awaken. It's not too important if you pitch a blue. It's always nice to get that extra draw. And the draw too, when you flip him over, is a big deal as well because you could potentially draw 4 cards of this leader in one turn, basically. So yeah, that's the leader. Let's go on to the deck profile. So first up for the 1-drops, we got 3 Burnished Bonds Borgos. So Borgos, we don't have much of a turn 1 play for this deck, which is one thing this deck does struggle with. But so I added this Burnished Bonds Borgos, or I had him at 2. So after the battle that I posted, I tweaked the deck a little bit, just got rid of some dead cards, and this deck has been a lot more consistent. And I had him at 2, but I bumped him up to 3 just to really get that turn 1 play. But he's a 4K, and his auto, when you play him, you draw 1. And another auto, once per turn, if your opponent restands an energy with a non-keyword skill during their turn, or with a non-awakened skill during their turn, you choose one of their energy and place them in the drop area. And important to note, you choose, they do not. So that's all the 1-drops. Next up, our main line of defense, 3 Mass Replication. So this card is a field card and it's permanent. All shadow tokens you play gain blocker. And once per turn, when you play Goku Black in your battle area, and your leader card is a Goku Black or Zamasu, you play 1 shadow token. So you just get a bunch of blockers off of this, essentially, and you spam them to defend your leader. This deck is super defensive, and you really want, this is your turn 2 play. You want to try to get this card in your hand, if possible. Next up, we got 3 Goku Black Evil's Accomplice. So this is another way to get the Mass Replication out, but this is not the way you want to get it out. So he's got Deflect. In his active main, once per turn, you may place 1 card from your hand in the drop area, and you may choose a Mass Replication from your deck and play it. So you don't want to have to play this guy. More often than not, you're going to be charging him, but if you don't open with a Mass Replication, but you open with him, you definitely want to play him, because you don't want to neg. So the fact that you have to drop a card is pricey, but it is super important to get that Mass Replication out. But if you have a choice between him and Mass Replication, you definitely want to play Mass Replication. So next up, to complement Mass Replication, we got 4 Nightmare Scythe Goku Blacks. I had him at 3, I bumped him up to 4, just because he is so vital and you really want to see him, and certain games I didn't see him, which is a real big bummer. So he's got Barrier, and when you play this card, if your leader card is a Zamasu or Goku Black, you play 2 Shadow Tokens. So off of one of this guy, you get 3 Shadow Token blockers. And keep in mind that Shadow Tokens do have a combo power of 5k, so if you need to finish someone, you are getting that 15k additional combo power. And you can use these guys to target some of the weaker battle cards. So you really want to see that guy as soon as possible. Next up, Goku Black Countdown Destruction. We got 3 of them. So his permanent is when you have 5 or more energy, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. And if your leader card is a Goku Black or Zamasu, you draw 1. So when you play this guy for free, if you have Mass Replication, you get a Shadow Token. And pretty much it. Free draw is also nice because he replaces himself. And extra 10k attack if you really need to. And it can help you fuse, which we'll get to later. So next up we got 2 Undying Link Fuse Zamasu. So he's indestructible, and when you play this card, if your leader card is Zamasu or Goku Black, if you have 5 or more energy, you may inflict 2 damage to your life. So basically adding 2 cards from your life to your hand. And choose up to 4 of your energy and switch him to active mode. So he replaces himself, and you're only wanting to do this guy if your opponent's being very passive, because odds are you can get this out, take the 2 life, then awaken. Or if you want to help get to your win condition, this guy can speed up the process, which we'll get to. Alright, next up, we got 4 Fuse Zamasu, Fusion Refined. So he's also indestructible. It's permanent. Your blue Fuse Zamasu leader card can activate its Awaken skill even if you have 3 or more life. And that never comes up. I played this deck dozens of times, and that has never ever come up before. But it's nice to have, I suppose, if you get in that situation. But it's active main for 2 blue. Place this card in someone's drop area. If your leader card is a Zamasu card and you have 15 or less cards in deck, you may choose 1 Infinite Force Fuse Zamasu from your hand and play it. So that's where these guys come into play. If your opponent's not dealing damage, you can play this guy and mill 10, basically, because you're inflicting 2 damage to your life. He restands. Play this guy, and then you can tap the 2 energy, because you'll definitely be at 15 or less at that point. And then play our big boy, the 10-drop Infinite Force Fuse Zamasu. I have a special rare, but I personally prefer this art than the special rare. Call me weird, I guess. But he's got Union Katora, which we're pretty much never going to play him with, but it is an option for 3 blue and 4 colorless. He's got Indestructible, and his auto, when this card attacks, choose up to 1 card each from your opponent's battle area, energy, life, and hand, and place them at the bottom of the owner's deck. So if your opponent's at 1 life, it's an instant win. And you get to choose everything. So you can choose one of the rest mode cards, you can choose any of their battle cards, as long as it's on a field card. But this guy is a big boy. I had him at 4, but then I saw him a little too much, and he'd end up being dead more often than not. But yeah, he's a great card. I love that card. After that, we got our super combos for Elegant Assistance Hellas. If your leader's a god, when you combo this card, you pitch 1, draw 2, and he gets plus 10k. So pretty standard. The recycling is also nice. Then we got 4 Sensu Beans. So it helps you extend plays or defend yourself. Everyone knows what Sensu Bean does. So it just gives your leader 5k, restand 2 energy. Or anything to 5k, I suppose. Now for negates. Got 3 Whis Coercion. You negate the attack, restand in energy. Pretty self-explanatory. Huh. Then after that, we got 4 Dimension Magic. So what's really nice about this that people don't know is Dimension Magic, for its Sparking 5, it says add a card from your life to your hand. That gets around inflicting damage. So if you're at 2 life and you want an extra card in your hand, you can play this, take a life, and you don't have to mill 5 because the leader specifies inflict damage. So that's something really good to do with it, and then you restand 2 free energy basically. And you don't have to worry about losing that last life either. 1 Mafuba, just in case you need to get rid of a big boss monster, like maybe a triple strike or something that's attacking your leader before you awaken, or just a triple strike, I guess, in general, if you're awakened. 1 Zeno button, just to restand your energy. I do see this a lot. I don't know what it is with this card, and it does come in hand a lot, especially for our next card, for playing for destruction. So this is how you're going to ramp yourself. You can play Zeno button defensively, and then restand your 3 or 4 energy, or whatever you have, and just pile these in. Because when you and your opponent have a combined 7 or more energy, and you combo with this, it's placed in your energy area in rest mode after that battle. So it's really good. I only use it defensively. I don't use it offensively, unless my opponent, of course, is never attacking. Next up, 2 Bardock Awakened Instincts. One thing this deck struggles with is drawing, so I like to run these, just because other than the Dimension Magic, there's no sparking you really have to worry about with this deck. He's also just a 20k single strike if you really want to. But when you Overwhelm 4, when you play him with Overwhelm, you draw 2 and you drop 1. So pretty good. Next up, we got 1 Champa, just to finish the game. You combo with it, you give the thing you comboed with double strike. And then last but not least, we're going to play 1 Mira, Assault from the Skies. So this is another win condition if your opponent's being stubborn. So double strike, Overwhelm 7 for 1 energy. When this card attacks, draw 1 card, then at the start of your opponent's next phase, main phase, you restand 1 energy. So it replaces itself, which is really important for this deck because you want to have as many active energy open as possible, but you have to pay for a lot of high cost stuff, so it's hard to balance out. So you and your opponent is expecting the Infinite Force. So if you play the Infinite Force, they're like, okay, that's all he's got. If he like negates or something, then you can play this afterward for a quick finish and they don't expect it. So that's going to do it for the deck profile, and that is set to Fuse Zamasu. I'm really happy with this deck. It's, again, a lot of fun beating some meta decks surprisingly, and I'm getting more and more confident with it. I'm trying to see what works, what doesn't. If there's anything I'd add, I might add some absolute release balls, like 2 or 3, maybe take out some negates. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave me any criticism or feedback in the comment section below, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.